This is Corey Mack with Mac Show MMA, back again with another video. Wanted to speak on this Kamaru Usman versus DDP. I wish I would have got my thoughts out there prior to the fight, but, it is what it is. But I just want to give my thoughts, post-fight. First off, going into the fight with DDP versus Kamaru Usman, I didn't really get the booking, but, Usman, he wants the double, champ status, the champ status. So I guess it made sense from that standpoint. I don't think this win from DDP really, catapult him and make him the clear-cut number one contender. The UFC want Khamzat, to get his hands on the belt again. Me personally, I think Nasruddin Imavov is the clear-cut number one contender. I mean, what the fuck more he got to do to even get the shot? I think that should be the next title shot. If anything, I think a DDP versus Khamzat for the next title shot and the winner of Sean Strickland versus Imavov would be more. I think that'd be more appropriate, I guess. But, my thoughts on the fight, it was sloppy as fuck, man. It was sloppy as fuck. I feel like DDP had numerous chances to get, Usman up out of there. But I don't know. He just failed to do it. I think, I do think Usman, did have enough power to keep DDP honest. But DDP hurt Usman like 6 or 7 fucking times. And, I don't know why, but he never like really went for it. In my opinion, I think he was gassing out. Once it got to like the second, third round, I don't think he had a lot of wind left in him. But I will say this about DDP. Man, dude, he got a fucking kick. Like his question mark kick, like his high kicks is sneaky good. Like they sneaky good as fuck. They was fucking Kamaru Usman up. And you would think Kamaru Usman would have learned from the Leon Edwards head kick, but I guess the fuck not, man. He was eating them shits all night, bro. And like I said, DDP had numerous opportunities to finish, Kamaru Usman. I don't know. He just couldn't, he couldn't quite pull the trigger or just couldn't, swarm, good enough and put enough shots together. But, credit to Usman, chin out this world. He battled through it. The weight difference was clear as fuck tonight. If Kamaru Usman want to keep fighting, he need to go back down to 170. He need to go back down to welterweight because middleweight, them dudes is too big for him. Way too big. You can see the size difference. You could tell DDP punches had way bigger effect on Kamaru Usman than Kamaru Usman had on DDP. One thing I will say, man, Kamaru Usman just look a shell of himself, though, if I'm being honest, bro. Like, his legs was never up under him all night. If you go and watch a Kamaru Usman fight in his prime, during his championship run, he always was steady. Even though his striking was never really the best, and sometimes, he'd swing wildly, he will always have his legs up under him. He always generated a lot of power. And, when he fought DDP, man, it was the same situation with the Buckley. We saw it a little bit in the Buckley fight. We didn't see it a lot because he took Buckley down and was able to control him. But on the feet, he's very fucking shaky. He don't have his legs up under him enough to generate enough power on the feet. Kamaru Usman does have power, don't get me wrong, but he's not balanced enough on his feet anymore to be able to put strong shots together anymore. That was clear. And what was frustrating watching the Usman versus DDP fight, especially if you're an Usman fan, the straight right was there all night. The jab straight right was there all night. The 1-2 could have been there. A Masvidal type of finish potentially was there all night. Kamaru Usman would throw the jab and wouldn't come back with anything behind it. He'd just throw a jab. And a lot of times when he throw the jab, he would duck his head down. And the one time he did land the straight right after the jab, he hurt DDP bad in the fourth round. I take that back. He didn't hurt him bad, but he stung him. He stung him to the point where you knew DDP, he wasn't going to be able to take too many more of those. That straight right hand was there all night after the jab, and he only landed it one fucking time because he too busy swinging wildly because he's so fucking off balance. I mean, he fight like his equilibrium is off. He fight like he's drunk and, he just don't have his balance. So, I'ma just keep it a buck, bro. If he would have fought Prates or if he would have fucking fought a Michael Morales tonight, man, Usman would have got fucked up, bro. Usman would have got fucked up bad. Luckily, he fought a sloppy striker kind of in DDP, a guy who can't really, methodically, put strikes together and really snipe you the way a true sniper would. Because again, if you would have fought a striker tonight, like a Michael Morales or a Carlos Prates, it would have been fucking night. Usman would have got fucked up bad. But now people still thinking Usman got something left in the tank because he went 5 rounds with his shitty striking DDP because DDP is unorthodox. He got power, but he he gets winded a little bit throughout the fight, which causes him not to, not to have the volume he could have. He's a powerful striker again, but he don't know how to methodically put the shots together to really get somebody out of there unless he just going balls to the wall. And he didn't want to do that against Usman because Usman has a very good gas tank. Usman is known for 5-round cardio. So I believe DDP didn't want to gas himself out by going for the finish. So he wanted to reserve some energy. But man, Usman did not look the same, bro. And I don't know. He got title aspirations. He ain't going to win no belt. It ain't nobody. He can't get through any of them strikers at the top of 170. I don't think he can. I don't think he could beat Michael Morales right now. I don't think he could beat Carlos Prates right now. I think both of them will fuck him up and knock him clean out, bro. And it's sad to see because, you see glimpses of it, like, the right hand to DDP in the 4th round, his cardio, and honestly, what's crazy is I think if he would have implemented the wrestling a little bit more, I think he could have turned the tide a little bit. I think he could have gassed and wrestled DDP out. But I don't even think I think Usman knew the big size advantage, was massive. And I don't think he wanted to waste his time with the wrestling because I don't think that he thought he could keep DDP down, even if he did, get him down. So I just think it was an okay performance by DDP. Definitely not, he guaranteed getting a title shot worthy. But I guess, he beat a guy he was bigger than and much younger than. I was rooting for Usman in this fight just because, like I said, I was always a fan of Usman. I also like DDP as well, though. But, I did have in the back of my mind, like, this could easily go to DDP, which it did. It was more reasons to go with DDP than go with Usman, and I thought if Usman could kind of muster up one of those, vintage performances, because I know he got the tools, he got, the cardio was on his side. I felt like he was the better striker coming into this fight, at least more technical. And boy, I couldn't have been more wrong. Prime Usman was more technical. And believe it or not, it may sound crazy to some people, Prime Usman beats DDP in my opinion. A Prime Usman beats DDP in my opinion at 185. But clearly, he's not in his prime no more. A 40-year-old with bad knees, Usman, just went 5 rounds, with DDP and had his moments. But overall, he got beat clearly. He was acting all surprised at the end of the fight like, bro, you lost, bro. You lost. And yeah, I don't think it was, 50-45. I thought that scorecard was a little outrageous. I actually thought it was 48-47. I thought it was a clear 48-47, but you could say 49, 46. I thought that Usman won the 3rd round and the 5th round. Just barely, but I thought he won the 3rd round and the 5th round. But again, the right guy won. So whether it's 50-45 or 48-47, the right guy won in DDP. So yeah, man, Usman, if I had it my way, I would say he hang it up, bro. I just think the guys he would have to go through to get to his goal, which is to get a championship, to get his hands on that gold again, I just don't think it's possible. It's not possible at 185. I think it's too big of a size advantage, for those guys at 185 for him. And then at 170, it's too many good strikers at 170 who has really good takedown defense. Michael Morales, Ian Gary, Carlos Prates. Those dudes is snipers. Those dudes is high-level strikers. And Michael Morales and Carlos Prates has power, like one-punch knockout type of power. Usman don't want to see that shit right now. And Usman got a bad habit, not only of being unbalanced and just flailing, punches, he keep ducking his head down. But DDP is not a sniper. He's not a technical striker enough to pick up on it and be able to, snipe Usman and knock him the fuck out. Although he did do well with the knees. He was fucking Usman up with the knees because, again, Usman kept ducking his head down. So, man, I just, hopefully Usman, unless he gonna tap back into, what he used to be, which he's not, like I said, 40 years old at this point. I just think he need to have a retirement fight, a good stylistic matchup, and just call it one. He did probably the 2nd best welterweight of all time. I don't want to see him keep fighting and keep thinking he got it. And then he run up against one of these young guns, trying to get a title shot and get fucked up, because that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what the fuck is going to happen. So that's just my take on it. We'll see where he goes from here. But again, if you want to keep fighting, I think he should go back down to 170 and see what possible matchups is there for him there. Because again, 185, them dudes is too big. So this is Corey Mack with Mack Show MMA. I'll be back again. Talk to y'all real soon. Peace.